Ethereum has just done something it hasn't done in over 2 years. If you hold Ethereum or other DeFi coins, then you definitely want to watch this video to the end of this. This information is super important for you. And at the end of the video, I've got some interesting predictions from an oracle. I'm also pretty sure that you'll find those valuable. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification, as YouTube likes to gatekeep some of this cryptocurrency content from you guys. And I'll also be bringing out a new video, 7 altcoins for incredible wealth. One video for Ethereum blockchain and another video especially for the Polkadot blockchain. So if that's something that's interesting to you, make sure you definitely subscribe so you don't miss out on that. Also follow me on Twitter because I post a lot of information, also a lot more higher level, more advanced information for people that are more experienced in the space. So sometimes I post some pretty good gems, in my opinion. So to follow what I'm posting, make sure that you go scroll down and hit on the Twitter link. All right, so let's start a little bit with Bitcoin, and then afterwards we go over to the Ethereum side of things. Bitcoin is always really important because Bitcoin acts as the pioneer in terms of adoption. Most banks and institutions know Bitcoin as such. And now they're actually starting to warm up to the idea of allocating a certain portion of their investments into Bitcoin. Now, most people don't really know what Ethereum is and what the value is behind it. And I think as they warm up to the idea of Ethereum, understanding that it's actually got a lot more use cases as a store of value in comparison to Bitcoin, then the floodgates will open and institutional investors come in. At the moment, most institutions and governments are still fighting with some really old narratives. For example, the Bitcoin is bad narrative weakens as Aussie banks have reportedly laundered $385 million for drug cartels. So it's really incredible. Those that shout the loudest that someone else is bad are very often doing the bad deeds themselves. It's been proven over and over again. The best way to launder money is with USD and through banks. That's it. Case closed. Now, in terms of institutions and the amount of Bitcoin that is around, Grayscale has swept $1.27 billion of BTC off the markets in 1 week. Now, yeah, if that doesn't scare you, it scares me. I mean, the amount of Bitcoin that is being swept up from large institutions is really scary. Because I still want to accumulate. Please keep the prices low. I still want to accumulate. And yeah, at the moment it's mostly Bitcoin, but Ethereum is also being swept up en masse. What I also really like is use cases, especially for people from poorer regions, from poorer countries. Here's a fantastic use case that I found. And it's about remittance payments. So here this user sent BTC remittance to his family in Argentina. And Argentina actually has terrible inflation, hyperinflation, as a matter of fact. And yeah, it's really terrible. The wages are low, the government is corrupt, and they don't have a very good monetary policy. And remittance payments, if you're not familiar with what it is, it's basically someone that is living in a better off country, most likely a first world country, and he sends money to his family back at home that is living in a third world country. And very often they use services like MoneyGram, Western Union, and so. And in my opinion, those are massive leeches to society because they demand exorbitant fees just to send over a few $100s. And these fees that they're charging could actually benefit the family that is receiving it tremendously. So here he sent some Bitcoin to the family. They didn't really know too much about Bitcoin. However, it only cost him $2.30 to send this Bitcoin, probably with an exchange there. And he showed them how he could do it. And I think this is incredible. I mean, of course, there are probably other cryptocurrencies that are cheaper. I'm not going to say ETH because at the moment ETH is rather expensive with the massive amount of transactions. But it's still massively cheaper than a wire transfer or going over Western Union. So a wire transfer costs $25 US, takes a lot of weeks. I mean, depending on what country, it could take months because of the regulations and the anti-money laundering stuff and so on. In the end, it's basically the poor families that are paying the cost because they just don't get the funds that they need. With other services like Western Union, transfer actually cost of $900 costs $76, so around 15%. So that is crazy. And yeah, so basically by skipping this, by skipping the remittance services and actually sending the Bitcoin themselves to the family, they could speed up the process and also make it a lot cheaper. In my opinion, if you want to help people in your neighborhood, what you can do is you can actually explain them the value of crypto, not as an investment, but in order to send remittance payments. So especially people that you know are first or second level immigrants that still have a family abroad, and you might, without getting too close to them, know that they're sending money. Then you can actually help them by explaining and teaching them about crypto and telling them that they can actually send ETH or BTC abroad. Now, of course, you will have to check and see if the person in the other country actually can withdraw this crypto. Sometimes like they would have to go without an exchange, but person to person, because that country might not have exchanges or is banned by the government or something like that. Anyway, I really like real use cases that benefit people in need. So yeah, let's go back to the amount of ETH and the diminishing supply on exchanges. And I think this is super bullish. Basically, the ETH is actually being moved to different places on the Ethereum ecosystem. It can be moved to like cold wallets for a long time hodling. It can be moved to Ethereum 2.0 blockchain to earn 5-7% APY per year to earn some passive income. And it can also be locked up in different DeFi platforms. So there's a lot of use cases. But point being said, this ETH moving away from exchanges is really bullish, because that means that it's not going to be dumped as soon as the price goes up. It's possibly for the long term. ETH going away from exchanges into the DeFi space is super bullish, especially for the DeFi space. Now, what I'd like to highlight now is a really important aspect, and that is something that we've been waiting for a very long time. And ETH has been powering through resistance after resistance, but not only in terms of US dollars, but in the ETHBTC ratio. So yeah, look at me. I'm the captain now. That's what Ethereum is saying to Bitcoin. And we're talking about the ETH-BTC ratio. Super important. So now the thing that I was actually talking about that ETH hasn't done in over 2 years is actually breaking past a massive resistance, 0.0416 in terms of ETH-BTC ratio. So I'm on the monthly chart on TradingView. And last time we actually barely touched that resistance was actually on the 1st of September 2018, after the massive crash, as you would call it. So the all-time high in terms of ETH-BTC ratio was on the 1st of February 2018. ETH was around $1,400. BTC, I believe, was maybe around $10,000. So ETH has definitely got a lot of catching up to do. But what I think is really bullish is that, yeah, I mean, after 749 days, ETH managed to break past this milestone resistance. And yeah, we're going to have to see what's going to happen now. It managed to break past. Now what I'd really like is a candle close above this resistance, because that means we can actually challenge further resistances along the way. So we've got the super important one, which is 0.05. And then afterwards, we will tackle the all-time high. And in my opinion, this BTC flipping, it's not something that might happen. In my opinion, it's something that will happen. It's just a question of time and when it will happen. Because, yeah, Bitcoin is fantastic. It's a great store of value, in my opinion. It's a better form of gold 2.0 and so on. However, it is only a store of value. It's basically the gold that is in the banks, and ETH is the banks. ETH has so many different use cases. It allows people to do a lot more with their money in an ecosystem that is for the people, that doesn't benefit the rich. And I think this is fantastic. So basically, by going with decentralized financial services, anyone using DeFi platforms can get access to a wide variety of tools to do a lot more with his money. So this is really great. I would really like to thank Aave for sponsoring this video, because there's another way that you can do a lot more with your money. I've been using the Aave platform way before they started sponsoring me, and I think it's a fantastic platform. The money in your bank or under your mattress is losing in value constantly every year. That's why you need to meet Aave. Aave is like your bank in the DeFi space, where you can earn high interest rates by lending your crypto in a permissionless savings account. You can also use the deposited funds as collateral to buy some more ETH and increase your exposure with an Ethereum wallet. In just a few clicks, you can start earning high interest rates on many different cryptocurrencies. Try out the Aave platform today by clicking on the link in the description below and start making your money work for you. I'm currently personally using the Aave platform to earn around 7 to 8% on my USDC. And in my opinion, when I'm starting to exit from my cryptocurrency positions, I'm not going to be putting it back into fiat on my bank account in the traditional financial world. I'll be finding different services to earn some interest in the DeFi space, and Aave is definitely one of them. I'll be doing that if they're sponsoring me or not. I'm really glad about this DeFi platform. All right, let's continue with EIP 1559. It's an Ethereum improvement proposal that I've been waiting on for a long time. Not only me, but many people that are really sick and tired of the ETH fees. So here is a list of 1559 resources, which include analyses, documentation, explainers, and so on. So here is the short TLDR of what this contains. I'll link this down below if you're interested in this. So there was a bug in the large state testnet. This is being restarted, polishing different specs. Quick Vitalik post about why 200% full blocks should be fine on mainnet. There's got a good enough strategy for managing the transaction pool, new simulation analysis for the transition to 1559 and the base fee manipulations. So this is fantastic, because one part of the fee is going to be burnt, which when implemented in Ethereum 2.0 is going to cause the ETH asset to become a deflationary token. And yeah, unfortunately, the miners are not very happy about 1559, and there's going to be a bit of a fight with the miners if they're going to adopt it or not. So this is going to be really interesting. If you want the whole document, I'll link it down below. I won't go through it in this video as it's quite tech, but all in all, they're moving in a good direction. Can't stress it enough, 1559 definitely has to come to improve Ethereum. Andre Cronje, my favorite developer who tests in prod with Kierin version 2, Alpha Homura version 2, and Yearn version 2. All votes become leverage votes and cross-asset strategies become viable. I must say I'm really big fan of Yearn Finance and all of their integrations. Alpha Homura is a pretty good platform to earn some passive income. Yearn version 2 votes, despite being a bit more on the higher risk end of things, they're still pretty great to earn some passive income. I definitely wouldn't put all of your savings in that, but it's pretty interesting. But definitely, I'll probably be making a video at some point on more of these platforms and showing you how you can actually do it. So this is pretty interesting. Now, if you've been following Yearn Finance, what I'd really like you to look at is this funding's Yearn future proposal. I think it's really interesting. Yearn Finance platform is the tokens are capped at 30,000 tokens, and here they want to mint 6,666 tokens to benefit the developers and so on. It's a very interesting way of going about it. On one hand, Andre was very very selfless when he created the Yearn Finance protocol, because he didn't actually keep any tokens for himself. And he realized that that was actually a bad idea, because on one hand, you definitely want to have a type of incentive to keep developers working on the platform. And I think it's also interesting because this is not the first proposal that went through, and many of the Yearn token holders actually didn't really want to increase the amount of tokens. And I mean, it's a very interesting thing, because on one hand, they're fighting against the future of the Yearn finance platform. On the other hand, they're trying to keep this limited amount of tokens as it is. Going to be very interesting how this goes through. In my opinion, minting 6,666 tokens for YFI is not really going to impact the price too much. It's going to be probably like just a very small impact to no impact during this altcoin bull run. Aave, really great update. So the Aave interest-bearing tokens are now available on the Matic network and QuickSwap DEX. And this is pretty interesting because this is a layer 2 scalability solution. So that would be really interesting to see how that would work. You would on-ramp some USDC or ETH onto the Matic network Aave platform there, or buy some tokens, and it would be really cheap to swap between these tokens. And that would be really good solution to the super high gas fees. In other news was Cryptopunk NFT sells for $750,000 in ETH. Money laundering. Yeah, I'm still kind of yeah, I'm not really sure how the value is attributed to the NFT world. Somehow different artworks manage to get like massive amounts of value, and I really just can't explain it. I really don't have another explanation than money laundering, even though that's a bit of a negative perspective on it. But it would be really easy. I mean, one guy just says, yeah, look, I'll create one NFT artwork, and the other guy is like coming, all right, I just sent you $500,000 of US dollars, and I'm buying some digital art, yeah, something like that. Anyway, I'm not going to go too much into that, but it's really interesting. It definitely brings a lot of people, but it puts a bit of a, how do you say, people kind of attribute too much value to the NFT tokens, and I'm pretty sure newbies get wrecked through that. So what I'd like to share with you is another super great GitHub resource for many of the current layer 2 scaling solutions. I'll link it down below if you're going to look through them or not. I think it's really interesting to see what is on the market. In my opinion, layer 2, it's not really going to thrive and be as successful in the current state. I think for it to be successful, you would have to have a layer 2 solution and many DeFi apps in that layer 2 solution, so that you could interact between the different DeFi apps within that layer 2 solution. At the moment, it's really expensive to actually put some money onto the layer 2 solution and remove it from the layer 2 solution. So at the moment, it doesn't really make sense. And I've already tried Loopring, and the liquidity is really bad. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that develops. Last but not least is these predictions that I think are super interesting by Andrew Keys. So I'll go through them, as I think they're fantastic. They're not only price predictions, but there are a few very interesting price predictions. First of all, Andrew Keys has made quite a lot of predictions since 2016, and it's interesting because he looks at the incremental change that occurs year after year, and he tries to think how the market is going to improve in the current year. So the first prediction is Ethereum 2.0 phase 1 will successfully occur. I definitely hope that this happens in 2021. Bitcoin will reach 50K. I definitely think that is possible. In my opinion, I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin reaches 100K at the end of the year. ETH will reach $2,000. I think this is a bit of a low ball prediction. In my opinion, ETH can easily reach 5K until the end of the year. 5, total DeFi locked will exceed 150 billion, and 2021 will be the year of DeFi cross-chain bridges. I have nothing to say of that. I think that's a fantastic prediction. Goes in line with what I've got in my mind. Web 3.0 gains traction. The value will accrue in the protocol layers rather than the application layers. Very good. 7 layer 2 will explode. Not too sure about that, as I mentioned before. IPFS and Filecoin will stay into the global spotlight. IPFS definitely will have its day to shine because more DeFi platforms are going to be using decentralized storage. So that was it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you're not already subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell notification so you don't miss out on any of this juicy content and you stay on the bleeding edge of what is important to know in the DeFi and crypto space. With that said, I'll catch you in the next video. Have a good one. Bye-bye.